We're now in the position for pages 2 and 3, remember page 1 being the cover page, where we have the 3 files which we can input into the SMIL program. These are 3 files. We have text file for page 3, which is the Shakespeare text. We have the Edgar Allan Poe text in this file, page 3. We have the page 2 timings file, which has the start and end time for each paragraph. We have the page 3 times file, which is the start and end times for each word. And finally, we have the page 2 and page 3 audio files. So, quick look at those files. Page 2 and 3, and then the times, page 2, and the times, page 3. Slight zoom. Okay, so text for page 2, text for page 3, times for each paragraph, times for each word. Okay, I'm now going to run SMIL program. And the SMIL program functions are identical whether you're running Windows or whether you're running on Mac. So, page 2, we're going to select the sentences because we want to highlight each sentence. What do we want the output XHTML file to be called, which we're going to use in the EPUB? Well, I may as well call that page 2. I can add the .xhtml or not, it will add it if I don't. It wants the audio file name, which is page 2.mp3. This from here. This is not going to pick up the audio file, it's simply going to write that piece of text to the .smil file. So if you make an error here, you would have to edit the .smil file or run this program again. The viewport. If you're not familiar with the viewport for a fixed layout EPUB, it's effectively the area of the book that you'll see on the page. And if you want to have a look at some additional information, I'd recommend Liz Castro's website, in particular for the viewport of this particular URL. Zoom in even more so you can pick that up. Liz writes quite extensively on EPUBs and knowledgeably as well. And now it wants me to select the audio time file, and that's the times for the start and end for page 2, as we're doing page 2, and then we have the start and end times for each paragraph. A little preview there. The button disappears, and now this button is selectable, which is requiring the text for page 2. Again, William Shakespeare. That's okay. And it's written here, page 2.xhtml.smil.css. And now I'm going to run the program again, but this time I want to select words because we're going to highlight each word of page 3. So the output file I'll be calling page 3, and the audio file timings will be page 3.mp3, the audio file. Same viewport, select the timings file for page 3, which is this. Lots of numbers this time, this is for each word, and button disappears, and this is now selectable. The actual text for page 3, Annabelle the Edgar Allan Poe. This, and again, a page 3 XHTML, SMIL, and CSS file. And now I can quit the program. Now we can use these 3 files for each page to put into an EPUB structure, which will result in a valid EPUB. So let's have a look at the 6 files we've created: the XHTML, the SMIL, and the CSS for pages 2 and 3 of the EPUB. This is page 2 XHTML, and as you can see, it has some header material, and then each paragraph denoted by the P and /P corresponds to each paragraph. All the world's a stage, Will Shakespeare, and so on for the other 4 paragraphs. On the right, you can see what the text would look like as it's laid out. The header material has the viewport information, if we call that 2 numbers. Also suggests in CSS directory there should be a CSS file which was created by SMIL. And if we go to the SMIL file for page 2, again there's some header information. But each of these, and there are 5 of them, 1 for each paragraph, has first of all an ID tag, a unique ID, in this case just an incremental number. Now the second paragraph, which has a unique ID of 2, is indicating that pg2.xhtml, again the same file, holds the text information. That the audio file, again, is in the audio directory and is called pg2.mp3. It's the same audio file as the one from the previous clip. But this time, of course, the clip has a different time. Starts at 4.62 and finishes at 9.6 seconds. And then effectively you repeat this information with different times, starting and ending for each of the paragraphs. If we now look at page 3.xhtml, we have the Annabelle text on the right indicating what the page should look like. And in this case, our paragraphs here, and we have lots of references with these span IDs to each of the individual words because we're going to use them to highlight each word. Again, we have a viewport, same viewport as the previous page, a style sheet in the CSS directory, this time called pg3.css. And if we look at the page3.smil file, this time it's significantly longer because we're having to reference each word rather than each paragraph. So in this particular case, for instance, we're using the text in pg3.html. It's in the audio directory, and this time it's called pg3.mp3. Previous one was pg2. And the clip begins 1.28 seconds and finishes 2.25 seconds. And remember, a sentence is ended by a full stop, a question mark, or an exclamation mark. In this case, we're given the start and end times of each word. So there's more of them, and the difference in the times is significantly less. We have a quick look at pg2 and pg3 CSS. That's pg2, that's pg3. You can see they're identical. And what we're showing here is this special bit of text here, which talks about media overlay, and this is a special CSS entry to allow us to highlight the individual words, sentences, or paragraphs. The highlighting I've chosen for the CSS which I've written for default is that the background colour will be yellow and the zoom is 100%, i.e. there will be no zoom. I've put the zoom in because it makes it easier for you to edit this should you wish a zoom to change that to, for example, 200%, where each word, in the case of PG3, would be double the size as the word is highlighted and spoken, and then it will move back to its normal size when the next word is highlighted. Okay, so one point I'd like to make in the Annabelle Lee poem on page 3 is that if, in this example, you would like the text to be read, but not the header, i.e. the title and the author of the poem, then how could you achieve that? Well, you don't have to make any changes at all to the XHTML file. You simply have to note the reference to the particular words. Remember, on this poem we're reading the words, not sentences. And the words are referenced by W1 to W6 inclusive. So if we go to the equivalent SMIL file for page 3, we simply go from W1 to W6 and we delete. And we save that.